Hey folks, we are back again, and this time we are with our good friend Simon from the Retro Rides team, and he is our guinea pig for a new type of little podcast we want to give a go, which is the Perfect Three Car Garage, or at least your Perfect Three Car Garage, because all Perfect Three Car Garages will be different. So, hello Simon.
Hello. Yep. This is an insane thing to do. It was only yesterday, I think, you said that we had to do the three-car garage, and like any good car person, I'm already thinking about it all the time. But to narrow it down to three and to think what you want from cars and to fit in my case, to fit in lots of different genres while still being different is so difficult, as you'll find out.
Yeah, I at one point when I was thinking about this before, I thought, three-car garage is too easy. We should do a two-car garage. And then I realised that that would be horrific when I started trying to work through it. I was like, oh no. So three-car garage it is. So yes, you've been having a think about this. You've been pre-warned. So we're not going to just spring this on people. We'll give them time to have a think about what their perfect three-car garage is. And we're aware that people's perfect three-car garages will change over time. So there's no hard and fast rules for any of this. In fact, we are probably just going to be making it up as we go along in this episode. So have you got any questions, Simon? Is there anything that was on your mind that made you think, hold on, I need to know this before I get going?
I don't think so. I think because in some respects I'm kind of part of the deciding of the formula here as how it actually works and the format. And as such, I've just taken perhaps some liberties. I've assumed that I'm rich for this scenario. Not just I've got a nice fridge freezer rich, but actual rich. So I've gone. Unlike most of my ideas are really budget minded, and in this case, I've thrown those away. I've not gone. Oh, I can build this quite cheaply. The cars are, I suppose, relatively mainstream. I haven't gone, I'm just going to have a Ferrari 250 GTO because that would be silly. They are my sort of cars, but I have assumed a lottery win somewhere.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that the premise of this is someone somewhere has given you an inordinately large amount of money in order to put together whatever three-car garage you want, but you are literally only allowed three cars for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And it's these three. But they're money no object.
Yeah, I'm down with that. That's it. Yeah.
Excellent. It's kind of like it would be somewhere between a 1980s Richard Pryor movie and the Cannonball Run when they made films about cars. It would be that.
That's it.
Richard Pryor's in Cannonball Run. So let's start with your first car.
Okay, I'm going to start with the obvious one, and that is you. Well, you can guess what this one's going to be, can't you?
I can imagine anybody that's listened to the us two rabbit on about nonsense before will be aware that Simon has a very strange fetish for both electric cars and Toyota Previas, and wishes to marry those two together in an unholy alliance called I can never remember the name. What's it called?
The Prevler.
The Prevler.
The Prevler.
There's something wrong with you.
Yeah, I know. But yes, exactly what it is. There's a part of me that wants to go, no, actually, it was a Mini. But no, it is the Prevler is the first choice. It's this is my dream car, this is. And in some respects, if you'd have said we're going to have a one-car garage, this would probably do all of it. And I think in the way I envisage this car, it would do all the jobs of all the cars, probably better. But it is early Toyota Previa. It's a UK spec car, so it's a wide body. I think TCR 11 is the model code if you're into that sort of thing. So definitely not an Estima or an Emina. It's got to be a wide one, although I think it was the Estima in Japan anyway. So none of this narrow stuff. It's a wide one. It's probably in GX trim, which is the highest level, although a lot of the stuff that comes in that is going in the bin anyway. And it's got a Tesla motor, just one, I think, tucked away in the back. a 100 kilowatt battery, which I think is the largest Tesla battery you can do, which would give it about 300 miles of range, a little bit more, and also make it inconceivably fast. But on top of that, it's going to be modified to look cool. It's not just a standard looking Previa. It's a super duper looking Previa. It doesn't have any body kit on it above the normal body kit. And it's painted in a tasty green colour, I think. You know, like the colour we saw on the Foose E-Type.
Oh, yes, that's a nice colour.
That sort of classiness, perhaps with a slightly darker bottom end on it. So, and I've actually looked at colours. I think you're the same as me. You drive around and you look at cars and the colours. I think a nice colour would be, there's a Ford Galaxy round the corner from my house that I've looked at the colour charts. I think may be called chilled metallic, which is a sort of a lightish green. So I'd have to delve a bit further before I actually went to the paint shop with that. But I think it's chilled metallic, which is like a greeny grey metallic. It's on hydraulics. But
hydraulics.
Not
Interesting.
Not crazy jumpy hydraulics, but I think just sort of relatively fast moving hydraulics to take it from on the floor to slightly less on the floor, with a like an accumulator system.
Like the HydroShock thing that we saw at that there SEMA.
Yeah,
Something like that.
I've had a little experience with air cars, and I found strangely the noise of the tank to be a little intrusive for a silent daily. And whilst a hydraulics car is still going to go, like it'll only do it actually as you go up or down rather than building up air pressure and doing it randomly. So that's why I've gone for hydraulics. It is got an almost standard spec interior. The GX model comes with captain's seats in four of them really, the front ones and the back ones, and then super foldy seats at the back, because I still envisage this thing. I'm going to put my bikes in the back. I can put any like sound kit in the back. I can sleep in the back if I need to. They're just brilliantly laid out anyway. The cars come from the factory with 2 sunroofs, so I love a sunroof, and I'm hoping, obviously someone's going to help me build this, but I'm hoping I can get it so that the heat and ventilation system can be on all the time. Obviously, with a 100 kilowatt battery, we should be able to do that, which means that if I go camping in it, or if I go I've got visions of me going to the Brecon Beacons and opening the big sunroof in the back, laying the captain's seats back, turning the heater stroke cooler on and looking up at the stars, and being able to do that all night. And it just sort of like keep the interior at an optimum temperature.
Nice.
That's it. I haven't mentioned the wheels, have I? I bet you want to know what wheels.
No, I was about to ask what wheels you're putting on. It's the important bit.
That's it. I've been talking too much. You should ask me questions. I think that on a Previa, a nice flat design, so like a TSW Holston or an Audi A8 wheel, something like that. But that's not what I'm going with. Just to trick you. I think I mentioned these before. I saw on a hearse relatively recently a set of Daimler wheels that are 19-inch, and they were fitted to like 2016 Daimler whatever 66 or something, and the name of them, because I've looked it up, is a Velar wheel. So VELA, I think. So 19-inch Velar wheels, which are the wrong stud pattern, but I'll get some adapters made up so I can perfect the fitment. And the fitment's just sitting right, not pokey, just sitting just right. And I'd like to avoid too much negative camber on the back, even though Previa suspension does that naturally. But I don't want to wear through tyres, even though I'm incredibly rich at this stage, because it's just a chore going to the tyre shop.
Well, you can get your man to do it for you.
Yeah, that's it. And it's but it's got a nice big stereo in it that sounds nice but not too silly. And essentially, it's fast and it's huge and it's very, very comfortable. It's got aircon and cruise control. I love cruise control. And it just does everything very, very well. apart from not look like a Previa, which I know is probably some people's idea of a bad car. But Previas are just brilliant. They're a brilliant design, and all they're lacking is a load of speed and comfort. So that is car number one. What do you think?
I like the concept of the electric Previa. I'm surprised Toyota didn't actually make one, or don't yet make one.
They do a hybrid.
I guess they're probably more hybrid than pure electric, given the Prius and all of that business. But I think as a principle, it's great. The whole thing of taking a Tesla and putting it in something that's not horrendous is probably quite good. Because I don't like Teslas because they're very badly built. I
don't think they are now. I think they're a lot better.
The ones I've been in or around have not been great. But and I say that as someone that nearly purchased one a few years ago when they were first launched over here. But taking that running gear and putting in something much more interesting is definitely a good idea. And I guess that's going to be a thing that will be available more and more, because they're not all going to survive the rigours of being used by people that can't drive very well. And that's true for pretty much all the electric cars. So those motors and battery packs and all of that stuff will be out there and up for grabs for sticking in something far more interesting.
Yes.
I like it. I like a Previa anyway, particularly if they're on the floor and looking sexy.
Which this one definitely will. It's going to look classy. No, not ridiculous. And it's also going to be ridiculously fast and economical. So I reckon 0 to 60 is going to be about 4 seconds, which is stupid in a Previa.
That's a good look.
That's car number one.
Like I say, so now that's car number one. You've got a practical family car right there. So what's car number two?
Car number two was originally, I had in this slot a 964 RS, which was a really weird choice, in pink, the magenta one. But I couldn't handle not being a modified car, so I swapped it out for a Skoda S110R with I realised that in this slot I wanted something that made a nice noise, and I decided to put a Subaru SVX lump in the back. I've got some experience with that. So the 6-cylinder Subaru 3.3 litre. And then I decided that might not be right. In fact, I had a conversation with Niall, my son, who said, are you sure? That doesn't really seem to fit, especially given what car number 3 is, which you don't know yet, but there is a car number 3. He said, it doesn't seem like you've got it doing a different jobs. And then I suddenly had a revelation, and I thought, you know what I need here, bearing in mind this car is supposed to be right now, because the car number 3 takes some of the things that the 964 was going to do. So car number 2 has now become something that's quite classic, but also makes a good noise. So I kind of started heading towards it being a V8 saloon. I know that's a weird step from a Porsche, but this makes sense. And I went, revelation time, I'm going to have a V8 Cressida. I'm going to have a Lexus V8 Cressida in order to keep things balanced. And then I went, I've just chosen another Toyota.
You are Toyota themed.
And I do not want to be a one mark kind of guy. And even though the V8 Cressida, because I want something with chrome, and now I want something I can have some friends sitting in the back of. This would be really cool. So I've taken the V8 saloon theme, although also not a saloon, and gone with, wait for it, are you ready? A Triumph 2000 estate with a BMW V8 in it.
Lovely.
That's where I've ended up. That's where
So you got another practical family car.
Well, no, because this is my cruiser. This is the one I'm thinking about what I do, right? So the Prevla, that is take it anywhere, do anything, take it on long trips, take it to car shows maybe, but that's literally my daily. But this is I can take it to Bromley Pageant, I can take it to a hot rod show, I can take it just on a cruise locally. I can listen to the burble of the V8. It's not supposed to be fast. I reckon 200 horsepower would do it. This isn't a crazy drag racer, but I'm going to do, and we've mentioned this trip before, I'm going to do multiple wheels for it. So the car is probably going to be, and I've taken another modern colour that looks old. There's a Fiat 500. You might see them around at the moment. It's called the Anniversario edition, and it comes in a lovely green, which I've now learned is called Riviera green, which is just a beautiful green blue. It's going to be that colour. It's going to have a white roof, maybe with a bit of flake in it, maybe like a pearl metal flake. And then, this is why it can change and be so many looks, I'm going to have a set of lowrider wires on it.
Oh, nice.
Sometimes, so I can be a lowrider, which goes with my flaky roof. I'm going to have a set of just steels on it, like coloured steels, maybe a little bit oversized. I'm going to have a set of American racing wheels for it. And I've forgotten, I was going to put some other wheels on it, and a set of Astro Supremes as well. So it can be any number of cool cruiser vehicles with just a set of with a wheel change. It's going to be on air as well, because I don't really mind if it makes some noises in the background, and I want that comfy ride when I'm cruising. And
interesting thing on air that I learnt, that it's not always a comfy ride.
No, but mine is.
It's set up very well.
Mine's going to be a very well set up, comfy ride. I'm going for cool, comfy cruising, an adjustable ride height to make up for my different set of wheels. Because obviously, when I'm running my American racings, it won't need to sit quite the same way as it will when I've got my wires on. I'm going to have lots of chrome on it, so it's going to be it's quite a nice deep colour. So the chrome will stand out on it, and I think I'm going to have maybe even some accessories sometimes. So some gravel guards or some funky roof rack, like a chrome roof rack with wooden slats and stuff like that. So it's a car that classic fans will look at and go, that's a nice car. But then every now and then, if I took it to a hot rod show with the right wheels on it, people would wow, that is really cool. But it's just a bit of a mix of everything that I might use to take to a local show or a hot rod show, or even just drive to the cinema with my mates in it. That's what that car does. And it's cool.
So it's basically like your show car, as it were.
Yes. Yeah. It is it's my car that I take to shows and just feel cool. It's a cool cruiser. Nice.
So why the estate, not the saloon?
Estates are cooler. I just like the extra space, and I just like estates. If there's an estate model of a car, I'll generally choose it over a saloon. I like to own that bit above the boot lid. It's my space too.
You own that. That bit of air is now yours as well.
That's right. Claim it. Yeah.
I'm impressed you managed to get from a Porsche 964 to a Triumph 2000 estate in an almost logical manner. It's quite a leap, but it's almost logical.
It's only because it was a combination of cars, and because I haven't told you that the third car is, it means that the 964 didn't really fit in there. It was just that I saw a 964 at the Earl's Court Motor Show in, I don't know, probably 1990 or something. Does that work out? When I was quite young. And I remember looking at it, and as someone who liked cowlook stuff and things like that, I just went, this thing's amazing. It was in the super cool pink colour, and they're on the floor from the factory. They've got almost no suspension. People talk about how jarring they are, which I like the sound of. And they've got super cool bucket seats, and they're just brilliant. 964 RSs are like factory cowlook racers. And even though I'm not really a supercar like Porsche, Lamborghini kind of guy, I just remember thinking, man, that's an amazing car. I wish I'd have bought one when they were 20 grand.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Well, I'm now curious as to what your third car is going to be.
Yeah. So there's a gap in the lineup, I think. This is the thing, is the Prevler does most of the things the other cars do, except it doesn't look cool at classic car shows. I'm sure it'd draw some attention, but it doesn't quite do that. So I've got my everything car, and I've got my cruiser car that sounds nice because I've got a V8 in there. It sounds good. It's got a nice burble. People wonder. And then my last car in the lineup is I wanted it to be fun, so this is why it clashed with the 964 a bit, because it does a similar job. I also realised that I was still wanting to feel cool with my Volkswagen gang. You know, I'm in my Volkswagen club. A lot of my local friends are Volkswagen types. So I wanted to be part of the paint scrapers crew. And so I wanted it to be Volkswagen-y. But also, this car has got to be in the third car garage. This has got to be the one that I jump in and go for a blast. This one has got to be like, get in it, rag it around a little bit, put a smile on my face, and just have a lot of fun with. You know, I've got the Mark II Fiesta, which has disappeared on the back burner, but I'm assured it does still exist. But that was an 1100. It's just enormous fun to drive, listen to the exhaust note, smile on my face, hopping around in country lanes or local roads and stuff like that. So this is my fun car, and it's also, and I was looking at, and I think I want it to be a roadster as well, or a convertible of some sort. So it's got to be not that powerful. I think 140, 150 horsepower, something like that. Very lightweight, big smile on my face, no stereo, and I was thinking maybe a roadster like Mini or a Riley, something like a Riley Elf, or I was thinking a Bond Equip, something like that. But the Bond Equip should be a coupe. That's the best shape for that. So I didn't want a convertible one of those. And I realised, because I wanted a Volkswagen, that I was a bit limited, and I was thinking about maybe like a Goal pickup or a Severo, which would be good fun. Do you remember we saw one at SEMA? We saw that.
Yeah.
That. And I thought, that's all right. And I could do that sort of a mini truck look to that, like chop the roof off. But then I realised it was getting too mini trucky, and I've gone back to an old favourite, which we've discussed before. My fun zip around 150 horsepower convertible-ish car is going to be a Sandrail, like a UVA Fugitive.
Nice.
That's it. And going back to the other thing, that engine I think would probably be Subaru.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah, I think so. Well, I don't know. I find to get 150 horsepower out of a Volkswagen engine without necessarily turbocharging it it's quite an effort, and it's quite a people will say it's not true, but I think you've ended up with quite a strained engine that's gone quite a long way from its original design if you're still running like a Type 1 motor. So that's why I've gone for the Subaru, because I think you can get 150 reasonable horsepower out of that. I think I'd put it in mid-mounted as well. I think I'd flip the gearbox around, which I believe is a thing. And
it can be a thing for the money you're spending on it. You can spend as much as you want.
That's right. Yeah. So, but I've still got a bit of that hankering for the 964. So I've got some 964-ish bucket seats in it. I think that it's going to be black with minty Z-tails for a sort of a 90s-ish look. Not too much. I think it's going to have a set of 16-inch foosh on it, like 7 and 8-inch wide foosh on it, with a reasonable amount of tyre. It's going to be very low. It's going to have, here's a weird choice, a personal grinter steering wheel, because I had one of those when I was younger, and it feels like the ultimate sports car wheel. It's definitely a cool, fun thing that I can take to Volkswagen shows or take on a track day maybe, but more importantly, just dig out the garage and go for a blast, like wind in the hair, bugs in the teeth, lots and lots of fun just out on the road. Not so fast that I can't ring it a little bit, but not so slow that it's kind of boring. There's nothing more embarrassing than like fully ringing a car and then being overtaken by someone in a Hyundai i30.
Oh no,
I've done that. I had a friend with a Mark I Polo, with a very loud exhaust on it, and it was kind of fun. But I was driving down towards Hastings on the A21 in it, and I literally put my foot down and I like fully ran it out, and it was like so noisy, all this noise, and I got a bit of a smile on my face. And then just like someone went past me in the Daewoo Matis and was sort of looking down at like, what is that guy doing? So it's got to be, it's really embarrassing driving a car really fast, but like then a snail goes past you. So it's got to be fast enough that it actually is fast, but not so fast that you can't rev it to $5,000 in all the gears.
Yeah.
So it's shiny, and it looks nice, but it's just a fun car. It's like a Sandrail, probably a UVA fugitive, mid-engined Subaru. That's all my 3 cars. Have I done that too quickly?
No, you've done that perfectly well. Perfectly good. It's an intriguing mix, and I wouldn't have picked, other than the Previa.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have picked those 3 out as the ones you would choose. I'm surprised there's not an actual hot rod in there for a start. You haven't got someone building your dream rod, because I know you like the hot rods. But then I suppose the Triumph sort of fills that kind of gap, I guess.
It does. And I
suppose
my dream garage is over 10 cars before I think I've put an actual hot rod in it, before I've put an actual like 32 Ford in it. I've got a lot more cars under my belt. I find UK based hot rods like Pops and Model Ys and stuff are actually a little bit on the small side, although it would have made a good fun car. And I find that actual US-based hot rods, Model A's and B's and stuff, are actually a bit on the large side. So I wouldn't mind one as a saloon. But with my list, with my group of cars here, I wanted something British. I've got like a bit of a history with the occasional Austin and Triumph and things like that. And so I wanted to have an actual classic car in there. And so I'd rather have a classic car with a hot rod influence than just a hot rod. The hot rod didn't tick quite enough boxes to be in the 3-car garage. I don't consider myself only a hot rodder. I've got hot rod influences and roots. But that Triumph that sits in the middle does the sort of retro classic hot rod, even lowrider thing. Enough of each of those that I think that's why it ended up in there. At one point, it was going to be a Mercedes Fintail, but then I realised with car number 3 being Volkswagen based, it had become a bit too German. So I didn't want two Toyotas, and I certainly didn't want 2 German cars when I didn't have a British car. I want to be able to go to as many places as I can, and fit in. So I don't want to think I've got a 3-car garage and I still turn up at the wrong car at my Volkswagen club meets, or if I go to Grill and Chill or Bug Jam. Didn't seem like a good choice. I did think about this. I know I only had a day, but I properly thought about everything I was going to do and why I was going to do it, and I'm quite pleased with my choice. When I am a millionaire,
it's a good set of choices.
I'll just play this. Would you do something very differently to that, do you think?
What, for myself or for you?
Yeah, I think for me, yeah. Obviously, your choices are your choices, and I'm sure we'll do a version of this for you at some point. But yeah, you're surprised by my choices, but do you think I've got them wrong for me?
No, I definitely don't think you got them wrong for you. I think one of the joys of having such a limit is you can't go, I'll have a Skyline GTR KPGC 10 and I'll have a pop rod and I'll have, you just can't reel off all the cars that you actually like. You have to think about what slots in your life they fill, and what you kind of get out of cars and what enjoyment you get out of cars in different respects. And I'm sure there's people that will just have, 3 different race cars and walk to the shops, but that's not where you come at cars from. But also because it's so broad, your enjoyment of cars, you actually need to cover an awful lot of bases which is very difficult in 3 cars. You've got nothing you can go off-road in for a start.
No,
Shocking.
but I don't really
You don't do that.
need to go off-road. I think the Prevler could have a little bit more lift than I suggested, maybe, and I could go from one side of a field to another.
Yeah, so you got to go. You're going. I don't know. You're going to one of your estates for a gig, and it's got a bit of a dirt, gravel driveway. You can lift it up a little bit.
A little bit, just a little bit. But I don't mind a bit of scraping. That's part of the game. And I even resisted, because I could have put 2 Tesla motors in and gone 4-wheel drive, and I resisted that because I think I want the range more than I want the extra power.
Surely you've got a lot more room in a Previa. You can put more batteries in. I don't know how they work.
I think that's exactly right. But there's a standard, like the largest Tesla battery pack, like complete pack, is like, and they're made up of modules, I believe. So you could go bigger, but I just don't think you need to. I think 300 miles of range. That's even my quite large bladder can't handle much more than that on a trip, I don't think. I'd like to try and keep the supercharger working, but I've heard that Tesla don't really like that sort of stuff. Even with Teslas that have been written off and you bring them back, that you can't supercharge them anymore. They switch it off. But if I could trick it into still supercharging, then that'd be really cool. I'd love to park a Toyota Previa in the supercharging bay at a Tesla dealers.
They'd be massively upset, but in awe as well, I believe.
I think so.
Probably because of the lack of panel gaps. But sorry, Tesla, you're awful. But I like your 3-car garage. I think I could live with that. I think if I was to take one of them home, I think probably the Triumph estate. I have a real thing for those Triumph 2000 estates. I like the idea of the Fugitive. I'm not on board with your particular engine swap. I would go for a VW Type 4, but bored and stroked, and 2.5 litre, almost 3 litre. One of them that'll get you your sort of probably nearly 200 brake horsepower at that point.
I don't know.
But your those Type 4 motors are great. But at least in the right car they are. But I love those things. They're loony. I've been in one, and I think, to be honest with you, actually anything over 100 brake horsepower in those is going to be terrifying, because you basically, between you and the floor is a little bit of metal, and between you and the outside world is not very much at all. So they're just going to be a lot of fun. And obviously your Previa is kind of that perfect match of your electrical practicalness and just looking pretty cool, because Previas are awesome. And you don't have to worry about head gaskets. Yeah. So that's nice.
It's exactly it. The worst thing about Previas is they're incredibly thirsty, and the head gaskets aren't too bad on the petrol one, but it's not the best engine necessarily for the car. And there's a temptation for me to just electrify everything, because I do think electric motors are great and all the torque and all that. But I like the noise. I want my Triumph to sound good. It's my burble car, the Triumph, and the Fugitive is kind of the screamer car. Although I don't think the Subaru is necessarily a screamer engine. I'd have to set it up to be a little bit revvy somehow. Subaru specialists, come at me.
One day there'll be a Fugitive in the Retro Ride teams group, and we'll try and do 8 different things at once with it, because I'd still really like the idea of the Resto Cal Fugitive.
Well, mine's got a bit of that.
Now we've got
a little bit.
Yeah. Now we've got to find a Subaru engine to fit in it. Ridiculous.
Yeah. But that's why I've chosen. That's why there's some sort of mint detailing on it, because I wanted that sort of 90s-ness, and a bit of the 964 came in a minty colour as well. So just a pink pinstripe on it, and just a pink bit of sign writing or something, just to make it a little bit back to 89, as well as being a racing Fugitive.
Lovely. I'm fully on board with your choices. I would ask you, as your garage burns down with your 3 cars in it, which one do you save? But I think I already know the answers to that.
Yeah, but not just. Yes, obviously it's the Previa, but the Previa does nearly everything the others do better, apart from make nice noises. But I quite like the noise electric cars make when you really put your foot down as well. The Previa is the ultimate car. I think when you said if it was a 2-car garage, in some respects that might be easier because you just have to accept the fact that you're not going to be able to get the balance that you want. Like in a 2-car garage, I might have gone double Toyota because I wasn't going to get everything I wanted. So I might just sort of narrow it right down. It's the point that when I'd settled on potentially a Previa and a Skoda S110R and I can't remember what the third car was in that scenario, but I'd settle on that, and then the balance was wrong, and balancing the 3 cars was one of the difficulties. So 2 cars kind of takes that away. Takes the option away, so you don't have to choose quite so much. But I like my balance. It's got me in nearly all my car groups that I want to be in, and it's got my practicality versus fun mix right. That's what I think.
And to be fair, you've not really massively broken the bank either. Like this is all pretty much attainable to at least like maybe one of them for people, and if you've got a little bit more spendy cash, you can probably get a couple of them, and if you are the sort of people that get cars built by Retro Power, you could probably get all of them done. I think that they are within the realms of mortal man. It's not like you've decided that you want a Group C race car to take to the shops and now you need it road registered. You've done fairly sensible things.
That's your choices. So I think I've probably got a realistic 150 grand in the Previa, give it like finding the right person to build it. I think the Triumph could be built if you're a bit clever. I reckon you could have that under 10 grand, but if you're getting someone else to build it, I think there's probably 40 in that, I reckon. If you went to sort of Burnham Autos and said, I want all this done, then I think 40 seems like a reasonable price. And the Fugitive, again, you could probably build that yourself for 10, but I reckon that's maybe a 30 grand car. So my full garage doesn't cost me that much.
No, I think there's people that have built or bought cars that cost more than your entire garage, and they're not as cool. So
no,
you've done very well for yourself. Well, I look forward to you starting work on this particular project and getting all of these built. Absolutely, getting these done. We'll find you a Previa and find some idiot that's crashed their Tesla and start working on that. In the meantime, thank you very much for your contribution, I guess, your selection of cars. It's interesting. It's kind of not what I was expecting, other than the one, but they all make complete sense to me.
Thank you.
So, thank you very much. If you enjoyed this, people, we will do more, but I just need to work out if anyone enjoys it. So drop a message in the comments or on the forum and tell us if you'd like to hear some more. We can revisit some of our previous podcast guests and see what their thoughts are on their perfect 3-car garage and see what's what. Hopefully some people have got some ideas as inventive as Simon. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we will see you next week with another podcast.